got our little lion's mane here on our just straight sawdust and oyster spawn. So this one here, they're starting to turn up. So these ones are ready to, it doesn't really matter the strain. You can do it with a lot of different mushrooms. So when these get big enough they're ready to harvest, you just grab and twist and you got yourself a nice mushroom, trim off any substrate, easy peasy. So we're going to chuck our 15 kilo bag of sawdust pellets into our soaking container. We're going to add 19 litres of hot water to our sawdust pellets. And you just watch them expand. And what this is going to do is semi-pasteurise our material while hydrating it. Let's cover this up. Keep it covered while it's hydrating, and every so often we're going to come through and just mix it through so the water content's even. We'll let it cool overnight, and tomorrow we'll add some spawn to it and chuck it in our buckets. While our substrate's soaking, let's get our bucket ready. Shameless plug. So, while we do that, what? Is there something wrong with my hat? I'll do a row of 3 holes, then I'll do a row 2, 3, and make my way around and try and keep them all in a sort of a diamond pattern. I'm also using a 16mm splayed bit. So once we've drilled all our holes, we'll give them all a bit of a clean off. Clean all the dags off. Let's tape up our holes. We've got some 25mm micropore tape. Simple as, tear off a bit, stick it over the hole. All of our holes are plugged with some micropore tape. We're going to give it a quick spray out with isopropyl. We're going to let that sit overnight while our substrate cools and spawn it all in the morning.
12 whole minutes, just like again pounded for 12 minutes.
What if the bottom blows out? There's like 40 kilos in here. Luckily I didn't do too many laps on the motorbike last night, so I still had some strength left. Well, now that we've gone and had some fun while we waited for everything to cool, let's get stuck into it. Our sawdust pellets are nice and hydrated and cool. So we've got our bucket we made. We've got some bags and clips also here. We're going to chuck in some shiitake into a few bags just to show you could do harder species with this simple method as well. With a method like this, it's 0 nutrients in it, so you need a lot more spawn than you would when you're, say, growing with our cold pasteurization method with sugarcane mulch. Generally, the other methods, it gets its food source from the material you're using, whereas this one, its food is generally in the spawn, which helps it break down the sawdust. We're also going to do some lion's mane in this bucket, just to show you can do harder species with this method. We're going to use double the spawn to say the shiitake in these filter bags. So you got to remember, you're getting all the nutrients from your spawn, not from the substrate. So because we're going to handle our semi-clean material, we're going to wear some gloves. There's just something sleek and sexy about black gloves. You're going to isopropyl your hands, your spawn bag that's been travelling in the post from your cool vendor you bought from. Who knows what Australia Post has done to it or exposed it to, so you're going to break up all your spawn. We have our pre-made and cleaned bucket we did yesterday and our freshly hydrated material. So you can see it's all nicely hydrated. So what we're going to do is just add handfuls of our material. A big wad of spawn. I'm going to make sure all the spawn is broken up and just mix it around together inside the bucket. The more broken up it is, the more starting points you have, and then compact it down. And remember, the more spawn you got, the better. So making sure it's all nice and compact, and you can see all those little dots, that's all the spawn. So you want a heap of spawn for these hard species like lion's mane, because number one, it gets all its nutrients from the spawn, and two, being a harder species, it needs to grow really quickly. More handfuls of material, do about 3 or 4 handfuls. Bucket load of spawn. See all the spawns in there? We're going to make sure we break up all these clumps. The trick is we want this to grow over really quickly. Then we'll compact it all down. So with something like oysters, you might get away with 1 bag per bucket, but things like lion's mane, which are not as resilient to problems, you want to use twice the spawn, and then you'll guarantee that it's going to work. It'll outrun any problems you might have and give you more mushrooms. So nicely hydrated. We did mix the bucket around a few times while it was cooling down, just to make sure it was all nice and evenly hydrated. Just doing a layer at a time. If you have the right equipment, like a flow hood and a sterilizer, you can actually buy 1 bag from your trusted vendor, expand that out to 10 more bags, and then do low-tech methods like this. You can expand the spawn 10 times to then use it for the substrate later on. If you don't have the right equipment, it can be hit and miss on whether you do have success expanding your spawn first. So generally only expand spawn if you have a sterilizer and a flow hood or a still air box to ensure you don't have any problems. So with every layer we're doing, we're making sure we mix it through and compacting it really well so there's no air gaps. And then we make another layer. Just picture you making yourself a nice lasagna of sawdust and spawn. Don't forget the key to success, more spawn. You can feel the hard compact layer from the previous one, so you just keep fluffing up that newly added material, get it all mixed through nice and evenly, and then compact it down. And just keep going layer by layer till your bucket's full. One thing to remember when you're incubating your buckets or any big tub of material, you need cooler temperatures. If you have temperatures up in the 20s, there's a good chance your substrate is going to cook itself from the inside out and then it's not going to work. We say this time and time again in all of our videos, cool temperatures for low-tech incubation. You must have below 20 degrees for this to be successful. We get so many complaints where people are like, I made this in the middle of summer, it's freaking 28, 30 degrees. I read somewhere mushrooms like 28 degrees. That's an ideal mycelium temperature. You've got to remember that in the middle of your substrate, it's a lot hotter than the room temperature. So if you have a room temperature of say 20 degrees, your substrate temperature is up around that 26 to 28 degrees. So if your room temperature is around 24 to 26 degrees, it then compounds and your substrate temperature is up over 30 degrees, and this is going to kill your mycelium. So remember, low temperatures when you're incubating before fruiting. Don't forget, label your work and date it so you know roughly how long it's been since you made it, because you can never quite remember what day you made it on. Rewash my hands. Now we do some bags. These are handy if you don't have a bucket. So what you want to do is only 1/2 to 2/3 fill it, because you don't want to add too much substrate, because then it runs out of sort of oxygen, so it needs to be able to breathe enough. About half full. Then I'm going to add a bucket load of spawn. We'll only probably make 3 bags out of this. You've got to remember the nutrients is coming from your spawn, not from the substrate. Got one of our bag clips here. Fold our bag up nicely. Fold it over. Put the tongue over in the fold and just slide her on. Now we've got that on, we can mix it up. Make sure we compact it down nicely. You can see the spawn all the way through the bag, and we'll just repeat the process. So I've got about the same in there again. Bucket load of spawn. Make sure all the spawn's broken up. Fold the bag over, tongue goes under, slide it across. So you want to leave enough airspace in your bag so you can mix it. And also it's not too full that there's too much substrate in there for the filter to keep up with. Make it nice and compact. Bag number 2. So just using straight sawdust, this sort of mimics more In nature, where they're just growing on logs, we give it a lot more nutrients, adding lots of spawn. So then it'll be a lot faster than, say, doing logs. Because it's just straight sawdust, you don't really have to worry about much growing on it. So because we're making these indoors, it's going to stay pretty clean, and there won't be much in the way of competitors to outcompete your mushrooms. More spawn. How do we use a bag clip? Depending on the size of your bag, fold in your gussets like so, fold your bag over, your tongue goes under the fold, and just slide across. Ta-da! And we'll do one more bag and the last of our spawn. So let's go put these in our incubation room.
We're just going to put this in our fruiting container because it's around that sort of 16 to 18 degrees. When it's ready to fruit, it's just going to push off that microfoil tape and just start coming out the hole. So once the mushrooms start fruiting, I'm pushing open that tape, then I'll peel it off and set the mushroom tree. I'm in the same clothes. So as we can see, all the mushrooms are exploding out of the holes. We did make some other types as well, just to show you can do it with any side fruiting mushroom. But see these ones here, you get some quicker strains like this is Phoenix oyster. It's a very fast growing mushroom. It doesn't really matter the strain. You can do it with a lot of different mushrooms. So when these get big enough they're ready to harvest, you just grab and twist and you got yourself a nice mushroom, trim off any substrate, easy peasy. So this one here, they're starting to turn up. So these ones are ready just to, so you do find the mushrooms aren't overly big, but you get nice, good sized clusters from all the different holes, and you get a lot of weight just from all the little clusters. See, you've got our little lion's mane here. Another couple of days, these guys will be all ready to harvest.
Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.